evening. On behalf of President Biden and Vice President Harris, I am so honored to participate in the Heroes in the Struggle event as you pay tribute to those working toward ending HIV/AIDS in the Black community. It is remarkable that 40 years has passed since the discovery of the first 5 cases of what we now know as AIDS. And we have learned so much during this very difficult fight against stigma, racism, and inequities in our healthcare system. Thanks to the work of the Black AIDS Institute and so many other organizations, we have shared in great progress in the fight against AIDS. The President is committed to ending HIV in the United States and lead the effort to end the epidemic around the world. The Biden-Harris administration is requesting $670 million from Congress, an increase of $267 million over previous levels to support the critical effort to end the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the United States. We are committed to ending HIV in the United States in a way that is equitable and centers communities that are most impacted. Together, we can end HIV in our generation. As we know, our struggle is far from over. Recently, the CDC officially declared racism a public health issue, which highlights how much there is still to be done. Tonight, we join together to acknowledge the work of so many activists and leaders in the medical community, and also to redouble our efforts to bring an end to HIV as we know it. We have learned so much this past year about advocacy, organizing, and hope. And together, we can put these tools to work to fight AIDS. We are with you, and thank you.
Welcome to the 2021 Heroes in the Struggle Awards, honoring Steven Canals, Carmarion Anderson-Harvey, and George M. Johnson. With celebrity guests Debbie Allen, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Delon Burnside, Billy Porter, Vanessa Williams, and Lee Daniels, with special guest Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Alabama State Representative Laura Hall, Harold J. Phillips, and Gina Brown, with a musical performance by Lettucey. Now, please welcome the board chair of the Black AIDS Institute, Griselle Howard.
Welcome to Heroes in the Struggle. This annual fundraising gala is designed to honor individuals who've made contributions to the Black HIV movement. Many of us have stopped talking about HIV, not at the Black AIDS Institute. It remains a crisis and a challenge in Black communities. Tonight, we are honoring heroes who have resisted anti-Blackness. We're celebrating Black resilience in the HIV community. Let's kick off this evening with our first 2 presenters. The Honorable Laura Hall of the Alabama State Legislature. Laura also serves as the treasurer of the Black AIDS Institute. Accompanying Laura this evening is the Community Relations Director at the Selma AIDS Information Resource Center and the co-chair of our Black Treatment and Advocacy Network of Alabama, BTAN, Lydia Chapman.
Greetings. The Black AIDS Institute Black Treatment Advocates Network, or BTAN, is a national network of 24 local chapters and affiliates across the nation. I represent Black leaders fighting HIV at the community and policy levels in Alabama, where white supremacy is slowly crumbling because of years of Black resiliency. And so it's a privilege to introduce and celebrate Alabama Representative Laura Hall.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you, Lydia. Black women are the core of the HIV movement. Whether I'm fighting against antiquated systems of racism within the Alabama State Legislature or in my daily lived experience, I know that we can't end HIV without driving systemic legislative reform across the South.
Representative Hall, you are so right. I offer gratitude for your legislative efforts in our home state of Alabama and applaud your recent wins. A decade ago, you introduced a medical marijuana bill named after your son, Wesley Ato Hall, who you lost to AIDS. This month, the Alabama legislature passed that bill into law. Your decades of resilience are a powerful commemoration of your son and proof that change does not come overnight.
Thank you, Lydia. Of all the new HIV cases in the country in 2018, over half were among Black people in the South. The stain of racism fuels so many intertwined stigmas: being Black, being LGBTQ, or living with HIV, which is why our next hero is so deserving of this honor. Living her truth as a vibrant and visible Black trans woman, she defies the very stigma that is perpetuated by racism, the system that would hold her back. Let's take a look.
I got involved in public health, focusing on HIV and AIDS during a time when I realized that marginalized communities were being left out. The moment that I knew that I could not stand silent anymore was really the statistics years ago when there was an uptick in violence within the Black community of trans experience, particularly Black trans women. And the silence now became evident that we were being ignored. Many a times people are not aware that our voices do equivalent our health. You will not know how to assist me, treat me, diagnose me as it relates to my health if my voice is not centered. I've been very blessed and fortunate to be in places where I have become the first of many of things. And what that did was it allowed me to bring my community and my passion for my narrative into the conversation to reduce HIV. In essence, Black AIDS Institute is one of the national institutions that actually centered trans identities in the work that they did. They gave us a present, they gave us a platform, which also gave us visibility. When it comes down to talking about what do I want to be remembered as, I want my legacy overall to be remembered that I was able to fight for inclusion in order to help my community to thrive and to live.
And here to receive the 2021 Heroes in the Struggle Faithful Award is Carmarion Anderson-Harvey.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Black AIDS Institute. What an honor. This medal is heavy, but to be a recipient this year of your Heroes in the Struggle, I personally want to thank Black AIDS Institute, your leadership team and staff, for tirelessly working to ensure that you're centering the voices of Black people, and particularly Black trans individuals that are often ignored. Thank you for allowing us to have a voice and giving us the visibility to combat HIV and AIDS in our lives, in our community. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Representative Laura Hall and those kind words that she shared. She's affectionately known as the Queen of the South, and it's been an honor to build a relationship with you. I'll leave this with this. Even though I am the recipient of this wonderful award through Black AIDS Institute, this award is really for my trans-identified community. That when I show up, the community shows up because our visibility is important. So we should all be excited that this award was given to a Black trans woman, because we are out there doing the work. And I'm so grateful to lead efforts to be visible and to be on the front line of trans inclusion, because we do matter and we're here and our voices will not be silent. So thank you again, Black AIDS Institute, for recognizing me and my community, for us being heroes in the struggle, and we shall win.
Please welcome original Dream Girl, actress, director, and activist, SHERYL Ralph.
Thank you. I'm SHERYL Ralph, and it's my pleasure as a past honoree to be a part of the 2021 Heroes in the Struggle Awards. HIV is a racial justice issue when almost half of all Americans living with HIV and newly diagnosed with HIV are Black. It's why I'm honored to introduce a very special guest to the stage tonight. With over 20 years of working to improve health outcomes for people with HIV, please welcome a special message from Harold J. Phillips, who is the Senior HIV Advisor within the Office of Infectious Diseases at the Department of Health and Human Services, the Chief Operating Officer of Ending the HIV Epidemic. Harold's the highest-ranking Black man in the federal government tasked with ending HIV in the United States. He is also a person unapologetically living with HIV. I couldn't be more excited to have him with us today.
Hello, I'm very pleased to be here. Today, we, the HIV community, mark a milestone. 40 years ago today, the Centers for Disease Control confirmed the discovery of what would become known as the AIDS virus. Ever since, we've endeavored toward ending the HIV epidemic. And thanks to advances like daily HIV prevention and treatment, we can finally see that end in sight. In fact, we now have to harness the revolutionary potential of undetectable equals untransmittable, or U equals U. 20 years of evidence has demonstrated that HIV medications slow the progression of HIV and are also highly effective in stopping the transmission of the virus. It's a scientific fact that people who are on HIV treatment and living with undetectable viral loads cannot transmit HIV. It proves that with testing, access to continuous care and treatment, we can end the cycle of new HIV infections and stop stigmatizing people living with HIV. We have the scientific tools to end HIV, but the CDC recently also stated racism is a serious public health threat. Black communities still suffer the greatest racial inequities, which stops many from accessing the same treatment and care that white Americans can. So we need to begin reviewing and redesigning systems, including policies, laws, programs, and institutions that exacerbate inequalities and do not advance equity for all, including Black people, who have historically been underserved, marginalized, and adversely affected by systemic and structural racism. That is why the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Office of Infectious Disease and HIV/AIDS Policy is so committed to prioritizing and collaborating with Black Americans to advance our Ending the HIV Epidemic initiative. With the tools we now have available, I will work to ensure that there is both public awareness and political engagement in the Black community and our efforts to end HIV/AIDS. 40 years have gone by and we don't have another 40 to wait. So stay connected to the Black AIDS Institute and learn about the federal government's Ending the HIV Epidemic programs on hiv.gov. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Please welcome Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Good evening, everyone. I want to begin by thanking the Black AIDS Institute for 22 years of service to the Black community. I'm so pleased I was invited to join today because I know this organization. I've worked with the Black AIDS Institute for all of these 22 years, and I'm so appreciative for the work that they have done for all of us. This organization was launched amidst the AIDS crisis, and their uniquely and unapologetically Black lens has made the goal of ending the epidemic in our lifetime achievable. As we honor this milestone of the 40th anniversary of AIDS, I want to reiterate that systemic racism is a public health issue. We've seen how HIV continues to hurt Black people more than any other race. Black Americans have also been twice as hurt by COVID as white Americans. But medical mistrust and misinformation are making us much less likely to be vaccinated. The Black AIDS Institute understands those very real concerns that stem from a racist healthcare system. That's why, once again, in the midst of crisis, they have seamlessly transitioned their 2 decades-long HIV education and community outreach expertise to educate Black people about COVID. From creating awareness about COVID and its rapidly changing information to why it's now essential for us to get vaccinated, I hope you will benefit from their resources so we can all stay protected and well and continue to support their stellar programs. Now, let's hear it from our next presenter. She has shown us what living with HIV and using her voice to end HIV looks like. And most of all, she is a shining example of how Black women can love themselves and lead their communities. Please welcome former member of the President's Advisory Council on HIV/AIDS, Community Engagement Manager at the Southern AIDS Coalition, and Black AIDS Institute's board member, GINA Brown.
To love yourself in a world built upon anti-Blackness is a feat, but to learn to love yourself when you are Black, LGBTQ, or a Black woman in the South living with HIV, like myself, and are coping with the stigma of it all, it's a radical act. So as much as we fight to end HIV, we have to hold ourselves accountable for our own stigmatizing words and actions. And we can do so by telling and sharing stories of Black joy as a form of daily resistance. We have to learn to love ourselves, our whole selves, Black, LGBTQ, woman, and living with HIV, just like our next hero. Let's take a look.
The catalyst for my HIV and AIDS activism was being diagnosed with HIV. That in turn is how I became more involved in wanting to know not only just about HIV, how it was going to affect my body, but how HIV was playing a role within the communities that I lived in. In doing more for my community, I was also doing more for myself. The more vocal I became, the more proud I became, the more public I became with my status, it in turn was allowing other people to feel more comfortable, to be public with their status. It was allowing people to feel more comfortable with testing, to feel more comfortable with being diagnosed, and to feel more comfortable with knowing that they could live a life with HIV. When we think about where we're going, it is going to be organizations like the Black AIDS Institute that get us to the end of the epidemic. Being able to connect with so many people on a micro level, I think is the real power that I have had within any of my work in HIV. And, you know, on a macro level, I love doing the things. I love pushing back against HIV criminalization laws and writing about it and being a powerful voice within that community. But at the end of the day, my most remarkable achievement is that I have been able to touch individual lives and that the life that I lead is now a possibility model for so many others.
Here to receive the 2021 Heroes in the Struggle Activist Award, author of the Amazon Best Book of the Year, All Boys Aren't Blue, George M. Johnson.
I want to thank Black AIDS Institute for this amazing honor. I have lived with HIV now for about a decade, and every day I wake up and I'm still fulfilled by continuing to do the work as a voice within my community, talking and speaking and pushing back against those same systems of oppression that harmed many of my HIV ancestors decades ago. This award, it reminds me that I am loved and I am affirmed and I am appreciated within this space. HIV can be a very, very isolating thing. I remember being first diagnosed and how isolating it felt. I remember when I first publicly stated that I was living with HIV and how isolating it felt. This honor today reminds me that I have a village and I have a family, a very, very large family that loves and affirms me for who I am, a Black, non-binary person living with HIV, continuing to do the fight, fighting against an epidemic that was not started by my community, an epidemic that now resides heavily in my community and now places the burden on us to get it out of our community. But knowing that knowing that my work is affirmed and that it is reaching the people who it needs to reach, it keeps me going. And this honor is something that I will never forget. I will wear it proudly. I will continue to do the work. I will continue to push back against the narrative that says that people who live with HIV can be deemed as disposable. And I will continue to fight until there is a day where we are no longer living with HIV. Thank you.
Welcome the Director of National Programs at the Black AIDS Institute, Reverend Rob Newells.
Because Black and LGBTQ people are still being left behind in the HIV epidemic, the Black AIDS Institute created We the People, a Black strategy to end HIV. Now even the CDC has finally acknowledged that racism is a public health issue. We the People is a strategy that centers Black people because we believe that each of us has power to create change for our people because we are the heroes we've been waiting for. We the People.
Being Black in America frames so much of the HIV epidemic in Black communities. We'll never end HIV in Black America unless we respond to the reasons that Black Americans are more likely to acquire HIV and die from HIV. It was critical that Black AIDS Institute developed a strategy to end HIV that's rooted in racial justice. We the People is a Black strategy to end HIV created by and for Black people. This report was developed by the Black communities and individuals most impacted by HIV. Dismantling these systems of oppression that are hundreds of years old, that are steeped in white supremacy, is going to take time as the will of the people continue to push for change. The Trump administration's ending the HIV epidemic is a major step forward in the national fight against HIV, but it wasn't created with sufficient input from Black people who actually face the greatest impact of HIV. The gains we made with the Obama administration's prioritization of HIV and the Affordable Care Act were intentionally eroded by the last administration. In direct contrast to the Trump administration's ending the HIV epidemic plan, the Black AIDS Institute's We the People plan outlines a clear vision for ensuring that all communities are able to effectively access and use the treatment and prevention technologies that have the potential to end this epidemic within our lifetimes. Our 4 pillars are the core of We the People. Each pillar really represents a focus area tied to improving social and racial determinants of health that collectively drive HIV in Black communities. All of our programs at a national level and in Los Angeles have been mapped back to the 4 pillars of We the People. The first pillar of We the People is that we have to dismantle anti-Black practices, systems, and institutions that worsen health outcomes and undermine an effective and equitable response to HIV in Black America. Pillar 2 is that we have to take actions to really mitigate these social and structural factors that worsen health outcomes in Black communities. Pillar 3 of We the People is all about ensuring access to and utilization of healthcare services. At a clinic for us in Los Angeles, we provide high quality, culturally relevant healthcare services regardless of ability to pay. Pillar 4 of We the People is generating this broad and enthusiastic ownership of ending HIV in Black communities. We're hopeful for new opportunities with a new presidential administration that has at least acknowledged anti-Black racism. We want to galvanize around the new team, hold them accountable, and ensure that Black leaders and Black community is at the center of every decision. This is the dawn of a new era for fighting racism. Since our creation, BAI's motto has been our people, our problem, our solution. BAI's work to end HIV in Black America gives us a pathway to ending health inequities across the U.S.
She's an actress, AIDS activist, and the Black AIDS Institute's board member and first vice chair, VANESSA Williams.
Thank you for watching tonight's Heroes in the Struggle virtual fundraising gala. The work of the Black AIDS Institute and events like this have only one purpose: to protect and preserve the well-being of Black Americans by ending the HIV epidemic. Your donations make it possible. In fact, in 2020, when we were exhausted from fighting white supremacy, COVID, HIV, and police brutality, regular folks like you donated what you could and truly lifted and sustained us. So let's keep that rolling. Together, let's uplift this organization that continues to protect us all. I ask that you support the Black AIDS Institute with a text donation tonight. Text HERO, HERO, to 844-946-2016. Now, no amount is too small, and certainly no amount is ever too big. We're so excited to share our Heroes in the Struggle silent auction, which opens now and runs through June 12th. Some of the great items we're auctioning off include 2 orchestra seats to Hamilton in Hollywood and an overnight stay with dinner at the W Hotel in Hollywood. And for you sports fans, 2 field box seats to the legendary Los Angeles Dodgers game with a $100 Dodgers gift card and a tour of the new stadium outfield area. For you art lovers, bid on this beautiful photograph by renowned photographer Herb Ritz. Join the Heroes in the Struggle online auction and know that your dollars protect Black lives. Click on the link in the comments and join the live auction. Check out many more of our amazing items ready for you to win. And you can even share the link with your friends and family so they can get in on the bidding too. Thank you for your support. Now let's let these bidding games begin. We got this, y'all.
And now, a very special musical performance. Please welcome back our 2018 hero, Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter, Lettucey.
Blessed be the wisdom of the ages. Quick, baby, turn my pages. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Ain't no use in being close to all life's possibilities. Though you may not understand me, I know who I am. Life ain't full of soft landings, still strong I stand. I'm stranded by water, and I shall not be moved. And the blood of my ancestors lie deeply in these roots. I've traveled a good distance, and I got a ways to go. Yeah. I'm stronger than stone. My will is my own. My soul is free. Sometimes it's too fast for y'all to see. Oh, life passes you by, though you are frequently chasing time. With my 2 feet on the ground, I'm gonna march on, heart open wide. I'm stronger than stone, hey, stone. My will is my own. My soul is free. Sometimes it's too fast for y'all to see. I am stronger than stone. Hey, yeah. My will is my own. Hey, can't nobody tell me now. My soul
She's the multi-hyphenate entertainment powerhouse, former member of the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities, and the 2021 Kennedy Center honoree, the legendary Mrs. Debbie Allen.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be with you tonight. And as we honor heroes, I am certainly put in the mindset of one of my heroes, a man who is a god in the world of dance, whose American dance theater has conquered the world, who's been an inspiration to generations of us all. I'm speaking of Mr. Alvin Ailey, who the world has known and loved, but very few knew that he was living with HIV. And tonight, we are celebrating so many amazing people who are out here doing the work while always being uniquely, unapologetically Black. Unapologetic is Mr. Billy Porter, the incredible Broadway film and television star whose Emmy Award portrayal as Pray Love, the HIV positive godfather of the ballroom, has inspired and touched the world, as did his portrayal of Lola in Kinky Boots that won him the Tony Award, inspire us all. Billy Porter, you are just fabulous, amazing, dynamic, creative, unapologetic, and humble. Something that I respect tremendously, that you are all that you are and a humble human being in your soul. So that you recently disclosed that you've been living with HIV for 14 years, moved you from whatever stigma could have been to the world of power and healing. That's who you are. So it is with great pride that I present our hero in the struggle, Mr. Billy Porter.
Hey everybody, Billy Porter here. Please forgive my lighting. Greetings to everyone watching the Black AIDS Institute's Heroes in the Struggle Gala. Congratulations to tonight's amazing, amazing heroes. It's so meaningful for me to be here because this year and this day are milestones that many thought we wouldn't be here to see. In the 40 years of HIV/AIDS, we first talked only about white gay men being impacted. Then we focused on politics, statistics, research, and science, and those are all essential. But somewhere along the way, our Black lives, experiences, and traumas remained invisible. It's why for 14 years, I could enact other people's stories, but couldn't share my own truth. I have lived with stigma as much as I have lived with HIV, until Pose gave me a platform, a language, an avatar that opened the door to disclosing my HIV status. And my heart is so full to see Steven Canals be honored as a hero tonight. But Black queer people living with HIV shouldn't need a once-in-a-lifetime TV show like Pose to set us free. Support Black-led HIV efforts. It's serendipitous that the year of my HIV disclosure has coincided with the 40th year of the epidemic. It compelled me even more to activate so that Black people, my people, are not left behind for 40 more years. It's time to prioritize Black people, as is the only way to end this epidemic. Let me say that one more time. It's time to prioritize Black people as the only way to end this epidemic. And it's time to support and partner with Black-led and Black-serving organizations like the Black AIDS Institute as the path forward. In the midst of talking about HIV, Black people are reliving the same racial injustices with COVID. We were hurt more by the virus, and now we're less likely to be vaccinated. Once again, it's organizations like the Black AIDS Institute that are creating valuable COVID resources to educate Black people so we can make informed choices, protect ourselves and our loved ones. We've come too far to come just this far. So as I leave you, I want to say this. In the last few weeks, I've received an outpouring of love and healing energy. Tonight, I send that to anyone watching who is living with HIV. You are enough. Your journey is powerful. You are a hero in the struggle. God bless you all.
Our next presenter is a star and heartthrob of FX's groundbreaking TV series Pose. To present our artist hero, please welcome Mr. DeLon Burnside.
We're at the 40-year mark of HIV and AIDS, yet the story and visual representation of the epidemic, who it hurt and who survived, has been told too often by white gay men. The Black community was all but rendered invisible while the virus ravaged our communities. From just 1981 to 1983, the first 2 years of the HIV crisis, Black people made up 26% of all reported AIDS cases. By 1994, young Black gay men were getting HIV at rates several times higher than those among young white gay men. 40 years later, even with HIV prevention and treatment, it's no different. HIV is having a similarly marked impact on Black trans people. It's estimated that 44% of all Black transgender women are living with HIV, compared to just 7% of white trans women. Our Black trans sisters' experience of being misunderstood, misrepresented, and misgendered has undermined the efforts of an effective response to HIV prevention and the treatment needs of trans people. Violence and discrimination make them the most vulnerable to HIV. The Black trans experience has long been relegated to the shadows of the community. Anti-Blackness and transphobia have been justified reasons to try and erase trans people of color and their lived experience. That is why storytellers, like our next honoree, have turned creativity into activism by celebrating Black LGBTQ lives on mainstream television. 10s across the board, and the category is fabulosity.
For me, the greatest achievement in working in HIV/AIDS advocacy has been using Pose as a platform to talk about how difficult it is to be HIV positive in this country and also be Black and also be queer or trans. Those are identities and communities that I'm part of and that I love. I think it's just so critically important that art not only be entertainment, but also be educational. The work of the Black AIDS Institute is so critically important because it fills a need. The reality is that in this country, HIV/AIDS is impacting Black and African American people in much greater proportion than anyone else. And so it's so important for us to highlight that and to make sure that we're not only engaging each other, but that we're also educating and engaging everyone else out in the world. The legacy that I leave in the fight for HIV is just to encourage and inspire other people who aren't living with HIV to use their power and to use their voice to be an ally and to be an advocate for those who are.
And now to receive the 2021 Heroes in the Struggle Trailblazer Award, my friend and collaborator, Steven Canals.
Thank you, Black AIDS Institute and President and CEO Rania Copeland, for your continued work and commitment to those living with and impacted by HIV, and for this incredible recognition of my work. Since the moment Pose aired, June 2018, my goal, aside from shaking up the TV landscape, was to honor and center the lives of Black and Latinx trans and queer people, some of whom are living with HIV unapologetically. My intention has always been to tell a story where HIV isn't a death sentence, but a reason to live life more fully. Pose is a love letter to our forebears who, in the early days of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, with no resources, no support from the government, and a lack of access to quality medical care, still managed to forge a way out of no way. From their stories, we have all learned so much about love, family, and resilience. And that lesson feels all the more important in this current climate where Black and Afro-Latinx people are still battling HIV stigma and once again, disproportionately affected by COVID-19, another global pandemic. According to the CDC, Black people account for a higher proportion of new HIV diagnoses compared to other races and ethnicities. In fact, in 2018, Black people accounted for 13% of the US population and 42% of all new HIV diagnoses. If we aren't willing to fight against racism and discrimination, homophobia and transphobia, sexism and misogyny, social and economic issues associated with poverty, which include limited access to quality healthcare, limited access to housing, lack of employment opportunities, and limited HIV prevention education, we are directly and indirectly increasing the risk for HIV and affecting the health of our own people. I don't want to see my people dying anymore, and I know you don't either. It's on all of us to use our collective affirming voices to create interventions that save lives. And that begins first by ending HIV-related stigma. So let me be clear. To all the individuals living with HIV, your life matters. You are deserving of love and respect. Your story matters, and my commitment to telling your story will never waver. Thank you again to the Black AIDS Institute and Rania for your work, for creating this all-important intervention, and for this honor. I'm humbled.
Welcome, Academy Award-winning director, Lee Daniels.
Hi, I'm Lee Daniels, and I am in a great mood tonight. I'm in a great mood tonight because I am with the Black AIDS Institute. I'm with my brothers and sisters at the Black AIDS Institute. The Heroes in the Struggle Gala celebrates game changers that are helping us. So this is what we're here for tonight, and I'm just over the moon. 2.5 years ago, I met this wonderful Black woman who is now running this organization. She's the first woman ever to run Black AIDS Institute. I want to introduce you to our CEO and president, Rania Copeland.
Greetings to everyone watching and commemorating and fighting with us here today. Today's commemoration of the 40th anniversary of AIDS is bittersweet. While we're all looking ahead to end the epidemic, I want to reflect on our past, our HIV history that's a part of Black history. I offer solace for those who have lost because their void can never be filled. I offer a tribute to those of the likes of our founder who survived the plague years of this epidemic and continue to fight so my generation and the next generation could benefit from the progress. So much has been lost, but there has been so much progress. We now have proven medical options for HIV prevention and treatment. People living with HIV can be virally suppressed and not pass on HIV. But it's so painful to see how, despite 40 years of progress, Black people have continued to be left behind. That's why tonight, the Heroes in the Struggle Gala celebrates Black resiliency. Black people living with HIV, Black leaders, Black-led organizations. We have remained rooted in the knowledge that HIV is a racial justice issue. And the only way we will end this epidemic is by investing in Black leaders. That's why I am so thrilled to announce the launch of our newest endeavor, a national Black leadership effort that will train and elevate hundreds of Black HIV leaders and advocates across the country over the next 2 years to build the capacity and motivation of Black communities to be change agents for ending HIV. I'm confident that by investing in Black leaders who are from the communities we serve, will take us to the end of HIV, for us and by us. I won't lie. This work is so hard, but it's made possible by funders who believe in our unapologetically Black approach. I want to thank Gilead Sciences and Janssen for their largest contributions in BAI's history for this new Black leadership program. We could not do this without you. But it's not just organizations who uplift us. Last year, when we were exhausted from fighting HIV, COVID, and police brutality, individual donors, regular folks like you, helped hold us up. Donations that you may have thought were small came together to make 2020 our strongest fundraising year yet. We've been fighting to end HIV for 40 years, but we don't want to be here for 40 more. So I ask you once again to stay with us and support us. Text HERO to 844-946-2016. Thank you so much.
Welcome back, the board chair of the Black AIDS Institute, Griselle Howard.
We at the Black AIDS Institute trust that we have inspired you, incited you, and engaged you so that you will empower us to continue our mission and vision. Please help us fight the good fight, the relevant fight. In the COVID era, COVID is HIV for the planet. Here's our largest opportunity to remove stigma. Please take out your phone and text HERO, HERO, to 844-946-2016. Please text HERO, H44-946-2016. You can help us in continuing to fulfill our vision and mission and fight the good fight. On behalf of the Black AIDS Institute, our staff, and all people affected and infected with HIV. Good night.